1 week in and we finished second. Pretty good. I know it was a short field at the Sentry, but other than Hideki Matsuyama just going off the charts, we all but called the winner of the first tournament of the season. Did you get your bets on? Did you pay attention to the information that I'm bringing you, which is powered by Clipped? Be sure to check out Clipped in the description below. They're now in the App Store. You can have all this information for your game. And this week, I'm going to cover who I like for the Sony. Now, the Sony is played at Wailea Country Club on the island of Oahu. It's going to be extremely windy there. It's also those Bermuda greens that as you get going later in the day, the golf ball, it can bobble a bit. So tricky on the greens, which you're going to see all through the West Coast start of the PGA Tour, but also time of day can impact how it goes. Now, when it comes to equipment, every time we go out there to work that tournament, it's all about new product, new product. This is the first full field event of the year. We're bringing in some of the Korn Ferry graduates, we're bringing in some of those European Tour guys, and you're going to get to see some different faces coming into the tournament mix-up. But this golf course, very similar to Hilton Head later in the year, fiddly, tight, can be windy, and I actually like guys that pay attention with their putter, put a bit more loft on it, and allow that ball to get up on top of the grass rather than into it. So anyone who is aware of that and plays a bit more loft on the putter or a mallet with a deeper CG, this is the place where you're going to want to look at them. Form plays a big part as to who we're going to pick. It plays a big part as to how your data is revealed. Form obviously leads us this week to Hideki Matsuyama. How can you avoid it? And I'm going to cover that more as we get going. But I also want to talk about other players that did well last week and maybe finished the tournament well coming in here. If you look at my picks, we had Colin Morikawa as second, Aaron Rai and Adam Scott. We said the par fives would be important. They both finished T15, so a good placing for them. Another name that I want to call out that we mentioned last week was Justin Thomas. He had an extremely low round on the final round of the tournament at Sentry, not playing in the field this week at Sony, but a player who did play well and finish the tournament well and is in the field and is someone from the clip data that we should look at is going to be Ben An. Ben An had a good tournament here last year, lost in a playoff. He's played well at this venue before. He hits it great. He's a good iron player, and he's someone that you should watch because he's trending in the right direction. Diving into Ben's data from Clipped, his driving is something that's massively improved for him over time. His current total player quality, remember, player quality is how you're looking at that moment. 100 is a great score. He's at 104, but we can see here his driving is 112. So that's going to be great as it gets windy. His approach plays at 102, and the putting that I don't weigh too much in on this golf course, he's currently in there at 101. But I wouldn't read too deep into that. So he'd be the first name that we'd pull out of the hat. Obviously, I've mentioned Hideki. Let's break down that round he played last week, the third round I'm relating to. You can see here on the clip data, 138 around the greens. But of course, what did he do to get to that stage? His approach play was off the charts. Yes, he got up and down 100% of the time, but he didn't miss that many greens. But to have approach play like that and to take it as deep as that, we're talking about numbers when it comes to his third round, 125 approach play. That is phenomenal. Colin Morikawa referenced it in the interviews afterwards that Hideki was almost impossible to keep up with, and you can see why with clip data like that. Yes, he put a center shafted putter in. Does it really impact it on these Bermuda greens? Obviously, he proved not last week, but at this golf course where there's going to be, I think, more traffic going through. Remember, last week was a limited field. With more players playing this week, you could need that bit more loft. So it might hurt him on the greens, which then leads me, and he uses a mallet putter. He hits it great on approach play. He's got a fantastic history at this golf course, and that would be Russell Henley. He is currently approach play 105, around the greens 108. Last year, Henley closed with a 63 at Lie Country Club to come up one shy of the playoff, and he was in a playoff that he lost to Hideki in 2022. I think he has to be a name that we look at. He's not a long hitter, but remember, I said this place is like Hilton Head. You don't really have to be that long, but he hits around 66% of fairways with the driver. Here's a great call out for you when it comes to Russell Henley and looking at his style of play. Yes, he hits it great. Yes, he hits a lot of fairways. Approach play fantastic, but he's also top 10 when it comes to putting on Bermuda greens. So you look at this and you wonder why that's important. He's using that back CG mallet putter, which is something we should all consider when we get on greens that have a little bit more grain, or you need to keep it on top of the grass a bit more because they're a Poana type green. That's going to be an advantage. For you out there watching this, if you're not interested in the picks, at least consider the loft of your putter and an insert on your putter, because that will get it into forward roll quicker, but also get it launching at the right loft and elevation for the greens that you play on. You don't want to be hitting the ball down into the grass if the greens are Bermuda or Poana. That would probably be my top name to go for. If you're going for more of a draft where you need players, yes, look at Ben An, and of course it'll cost you a lot of money, but Hideki's got to be a name that you look out for because he's the hot hand. Keep in mind, Hideki is a past champion at this venue. It's also quite closely connected to Japan, so there's a big following that comes here. Sony, at the end of the day, is the main sponsor, which is a Japanese company, so he has that incentive to keep his momentum going from Sentry and play well. Now look, you have to make up the picks and you need more names, I understand it. If you go further down into who's playing well in every category and growing with confidence, as we look at the clip data, everything is lighting up green for this player. It's JT Poston. I don't think he closed out great last week when it came to the Sentry, but he's moving in the right direction. And you can see here that his iron play is a real driver for his scoring, and it represents a huge 49% on his importance to scoring within clipped. So if he hits his irons well, which is where his approach play is at 104 and trending, then it could be a name that is certainly one to look out for. And it's a name that Clipped has highlighted to me as a player to watch. And then two names that I'm going to go for that I like, who I think are experienced, and they tend to do well here. I know they did well when they were certainly a bit more in their prime. I'm going for the slightly older statesman here, but Ryan Palmer hits it so good. Again, has a good record at this golf course. And also take a look at Keegan Bradley. Yes, he's got his eye on captaincy of that Ryder Cup, but at the end of the day, he is an absolute gamer and he's a player can do well. I have nothing really in clip that signs them out, so they're two cheeky ones that I'd put as what to look out for, and you've got to really go off form and run it. That's going to be the Lie Country Club Sony Open, first event of the year. Who can get the tournament year off with a winning start and guarantee themselves to get up the money list? Hopefully you like these videos and you like what's coming. Clipped is powering them. You can have all of this for your own game. As mentioned, check it out in the description. We came close last week. We had 2 top 15s and a second place. I like where this is going. How long do you think it'll take until my tips can bring you a winner? Fire it down in the comments below and let me know. Take notice. It's going to be a great tournament.